Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my breakdown of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, here's how this is going to work. I'm breaking down all 32 NFL teams in the original draft order. This is before all the trades and moving around and things like that. So this week, I'm going to break down the Atlanta Falcons today. Tuesday's the Dallas Cowboys. Wednesday's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thursday's the Chicago Bears, and then Friday is the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm really excited because this is not only the halfway mark, this is the last week that I will be breaking down all the non-playoff teams. So for the next couple of weeks after this week, I get to do all the playoff teams. So I'm pretty excited about it. And now, if you're new to my channel, I just got one simple question for you. Do you want to talk football? Because that's the only thing I do. There's this button right around here, this little red subscribe button right here in the corner. See it? See it? See it? Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Now, here's how my breakdown video is going to work. I'm going to break down what I like about the Atlanta Falcons. Then I'm going to talk about what I don't like about the Atlanta Falcons. But stick around to the very end where I break down the Vegas over-under. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the over-under, what it is that I say Vegas, but odds makers, whether it's online, I'm going to do all my gambling in Iowa unless I get a wild hair up my ass and fly out to Vegas for a weekend. I've done it before, so it's a possibility, but my plan is to do all my sports betting at the William Hill Casino in Iowa, just about 2 hours from where I'm shooting this video, my home. But what it is, all 32 teams have a win-loss total that's set that you can bet on. And at the end of the video, I'm going to break down the Atlanta Falcons and the win-loss total, and if I am going to put action down on the Atlanta Falcons this year. So, hey, let's start it off with what I like about the Atlanta Falcons. The first thing I like about the Atlanta Falcons is what they did in free agency, specifically 4 signings. You went ahead and signed Dante Fowler, Todd Gurley, Laquan Treadwell, and then you traded for Hayden Hurst. All 4 of these players are former SEC players. All these players are reclamation projects in one way or another, and they're also former first-round picks. Now, Todd Gurley, 2 years ago, was considered best running back in football, and Dante Fowler really is not a bad player, but remember, he was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. He never really lived up to being a top 5 pick. He was never that type of player, but he did earn that 3-year, $45 million deal. Here's the thing. You're located in the heart of SEC country, and you picked up 4 SEC players. Now, a lot of NFL teams like SEC players, but when you're located in Atlanta, I think it means a little more. And keep in mind, I've never spoken to Todd Gurley, but I've got to feel that he's going to be happier in Atlanta, where he was beloved in Georgia. If you don't remember his last year in Georgia, he was the Heisman front runner. Then he got injured. If he doesn't get injured, he probably wins the Heisman Trophy. That's not a stretch to say that. He was the Heisman front runner before the injury. So I've got to think to myself that Todd Gurley is going to like playing in Atlanta more than he likes playing in LA. And keep in mind, you signed Todd Gurley to a 1-year deal after Houston trades DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona and gets David Johnson in return. Here you are. You could have got Todd Gurley. He signed a 1-year deal for $5.5 million with Atlanta, where Houston is going to give, I think it's $14.6 million to David Johnson, plus they gave away their best wide receiver. Are you going to tell me that if you're the Houston Texans and you knew that Todd Gurley is going to be available, you make that trade? So not only do you go ahead and you get Todd Gurley, you prevented making a trade, which you did want to improve your running game. And the reason why is last year you had the 3rd most passing yards and the 30th most rushing yards. Hayden Hurst is going to be a starter at the tight end position. He replaces Austin Hooper. I'm sorry, I had a brain freeze there. And here's the thing, Austin Hooper was never known to be a blocker. He's more of a receiver. Hayden Hurst is a better blocker, because what they're going to do in 2020 is become a more balanced team. You know, the passing attack is first rate with the Atlanta Falcons, which leads me to the second thing I like, and that's the Hall of Fame duo of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. Both these guys, even though they're over 30, Julio Jones is 31, Matt Ryan's 35. They're still playing at a Hall of Fame level, not just a Pro Bowl level. They're playing at an elite Hall of Fame level. So you don't have to worry about the passing attack, but when you sign a Todd Gurley, you're going to become more balanced. You're going to run the ball more. Like I said, you're third in passing yards, 30th in rushing yards. Hayden Hurst and Todd Gurley is going to have an amazing impact on that. So you're going to be much more balanced than you were last year. Speaking of balance, leads me to the third point I want to bring up, and that's I could actually if I wanted to, I could split this up into two sections. I'm going to combine it, and that's the right side of the offensive line. In the 2019 draft, you drafted Chris Lindstrom at 12th overall and Caleb McGarry as a right tackle, 30th overall. You trade back in the first round to get him. Now, I want to be very clear. I did not like either one of these draft picks. You really reached on both these players. Lindstrom, I kept on seeing him as a second-round player. McGarry, I kept on seeing as a third-round player. But bottom line, even though these guys are overdrafted, Lindstrom got injured, played in the last couple games of the season. He's now going to be a starter. Every indication he's going to start all 16 games. He had a great career at Boston College. And McGarry, he started at the right tackle all 16 games. As a general rule of thumb, and this is generalizing big time, but if you're a rookie offensive lineman, you play all 16 games your rookie year, your second year, you're going to be better. That's just plain and simple. So the right side of the offensive line, it should be a lot better because the two players you drafted are going to start. They already got experience. Lindstrom, knock on wood, is not going to be injured like he was last year. This offensive line gave up 50 sacks last year. Matt Ryan was sacked more than any other quarterback except for Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. As much as I love Matt Ryan, nobody ever called him athletic or mobile. Watson and Russell Wilson are guys that scrambled around. They're kind of brought on some of those sacks by themselves. So the offensive line will get much better. It needs to be. Keep in mind, you also used the third-round pick on Matt Hennessy, one of the best interior offensive linemen in the draft. I don't know if he's going to start at guard or if the plan is for him to replace Alex Mack, who's going to be 34 this year. But bottom line, the offensive line is going to be much improved, especially that right side. Fourth thing I like about the Atlanta Falcons is the way they ended. Basically, you had a tale of two halves. You had the first half of the season, you went 1-7. Your head coach took over the defensive coordinator duties, and for the first 7 games of the season, you gave up 31.75 points a game. I thought that this was a no-brainer that Dan Quinn was going to lose this job. You can't give up over 31 points a game when you're the defensive coordinator and the head coach. But the last 8 games of the season, they gave up 18.625 points a game. That's less than 19 points a game. Let me tell you something. If the Atlanta Falcons in 2020 give up under 19 points a game, they are going to the playoffs, probably going to go very far into the playoffs. And they also ended the season on a 4-game win streak, and they even beat San Francisco in San Francisco. And that was a huge game because San Francisco was still fighting for not only the number 1 seed and a bye, but they were still fighting to win the NFC West. There was a chance that Seattle was going to win that division. Remember, they played the last game of the season, and if Seattle wins that game, they actually get a bye and win the division. Does San Francisco make the Super Bowl as a 5 seed as opposed to being a 1 seed? That's a debatable subject, but bottom line, when Atlanta beat San Francisco in San Francisco, it was a huge win. I was thinking to myself, okay, well, he's definitely going to be back, but they ended up winning the next 2 games, so they ended up on a 4-game win streak. And here's the thing, there's a lot of coaches that might have fired Dan Quinn after that 1-7 start, because after that 1-7 start, there was a bye week. But this leads me to the last thing I like about the Atlanta Falcons, and that is a first-rate organization. Arthur Blank's a first-rate owner. Bottom line, there's franchises like Cleveland and Washington after the 1-7 start, where there was a bye after that 1-7 start. A lot of teams just would have kicked Dan Quinn to the curb. They would have just blown up the whole team. They would have been a knee-jerk reaction. bottom line, the Atlanta Falcons didn't do that, and that's very key because let's say you're a free agent and you have a chance to make more money in a team like Cleveland. Let's say you could sign a 5-year, $100 million deal in Cleveland. Well, maybe you'll take a 5-year, $80 million deal in Atlanta because in Cleveland, that 5-year deal, you may be playing for 5 different head coaches, 4 different general managers. You have a lot of stability there in Atlanta. Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn, the general manager and head coach, were able to keep their job. Everything about the Atlanta Falcons is first rate. The practice facilities, the stadium, the way they conduct themselves. And not only that, you don't see Arthur Blank on TV talking about things every other day. So the way the organization is first rate through the Atlanta Falcons. So just to kind of recap of the 5 things I like about the Atlanta Falcons. Number 1, the free agent signings were huge. Maybe the best out of everybody in the NFL. The Hall of Fame duo of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, both playing at a Hall of Fame level. The third thing, like I said, I could have broke it up into 3 and 4, but I'm just going to say the right side of the offensive line, those 2 rookies, now second-year players, got some experience, and Lindstrom's going to be healthy, knock on wood, for the whole season. Fourth thing was the second half of the season, specifically the ending the season on 4 straight wins. And fifth and last is that the Atlanta Falcons have a first-rate organization, first-rate owner. Everything from top to bottom is first-rate. So now let's talk about what I don't like. The first thing I don't like about the Atlanta Falcons is last year, not only did you give up 50 sacks, which is a bad thing and something I think is going to be improved, but you only got 28 sacks. If you're not familiar with the Seahawks defense, is that they run the old Seahawks defense as a cover 3, kind of a variation of Tampa 2. It's Tampa 2 with more man defense, but bottom line, the sacks come from the defensive line. Vic Beasley, who was your leading sacker, is gone. He had 8 sacks last year. And Adrian Claiborne, who was third on your team in sacks with 4, is also gone. So almost half of the sacks that you got last year are gone. Now keep in mind, Dante Fowler, had 11 and a half sacks last year. It was the first time in his career that he had double digits. That makes up for it, but you need to have a lot more than 28. Now, second round pick, Marlon Davidson, he played end in college, but he's built like a defensive tackle. He's 6'3", about 305. And then Tack McKinley, a former first round pick, he's entering his 4th year. He only had 3.5 sacks last year. With his athleticism, the light bulb may come on. Now, keep in mind your best defensive player is Grady Jarrett. He's going to be, he had 7 sacks last year. Him and Fowler are going to really be able to wreak havoc. But keep in mind, Fowler played next to Aaron Donald last year. No disrespect to Grady Jarrett, who's one of the best defensive players in football, one of the best defensive tackles. He's no Aaron Donald, so it's likely to say that Fowler may not be quite as productive. But bottom line, you must have more than 28 sacks. You already are missing 12 from a year ago. But with Marlon Davidson, hopefully Tack McKinley can come back, and Dante Fowler, you will improve that. But my big question is it enough? Because 28 sacks, you got to have a lot more than that. And you're missing 12 from last year. So that's the number one thing. Number 2, thing I wouldn't say this is really a dislike, but more of a question, is Marcus Trufant left in free agency for Detroit. He's going to be replaced by rookie A.J. Terrell. And A.J. Terrell's an Atlanta kid, played at Clemson. So, I mean, I think that of all the rookie corners, it wouldn't surprise me if A.J. Terrell played the best. But you're going into the season with Isaiah Wilson and A.J. Terrell as your starting corners. I'm sorry, Isaiah Oliver. My mistake here. I apologize because he's one of my. I really liked him coming out of Colorado, but it's his 3rd year, and he's a young guy. He's still an up and comer, and then A.J. Terrell, who I think is a good player. He's arguably your number 1 corner day 1, and he's a rookie. So there's some question marks, I think, going into your corner position. I just talked about your pass rush and how you're missing half your sacks, and you only had 28 from a year before. So now you got some problems in the back end as well. Now, the way this defense is set up, you're not having your linebackers and corners blitz. So you got to get the sacks from up front. Your linebackers are going to kind of play in that second zone. They cover against the pass and the run. And then your corners, it's not a complete man system. But bottom line, I have a lot of questions about the secondary going into the season, especially combined with a pass rush that's a question mark, which leads me to my third point, and this kind of ties in together. You have Tom Brady who's coming into your division. So in your division alone, you have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So 4 times this season, you're going against Hall of Fame quarterbacks when you have problems on the pass rush in your defensive line, and then you have problems in your secondary with your corner, especially a rookie corner. But you're also going to go against Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. You really want to debate if Russell Wilson's Hall of Fame quarterback. I sort of kind of concede the debate, but I think he's in the Hall of Fame if he retires from football today, and he's not. So you're playing 6 games against Hall of Fame quarterbacks, plus you're also going to see Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, and Kirk Cousins. So you're going against 6 Hall of Fame quarterbacks plus 4 Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks. And now I'm a Chiefs fan, so it's a little biased of me to say that Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, but if he stays healthy, he will be. I also will argue that Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Of course, he's coming off an injury, and that's a debatable thing. But I think when everything's said and done, both Mahomes and Stafford, barring injuries, will also be in Canton. But 6 times this season, you're definitely going against Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and that's with having issues putting pressure on the quarterback from the defensive line and having a rookie as your number one, arguably your number 1 corner. If you want to call him number 2 corner, that's fine, but still he's a rookie. And bottom line, you're going against 6 Hall of Fame quarterbacks and another 4 Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks. So this schedule is very tough, and your weakness is really kind of accentuated by the players or teams that you're going against. So just to recap, the 3 things I don't like about the Atlanta Falcons is you didn't get enough pressure on the quarterback last year. I'm going to call that defensive line, but let's just say sacks, defensive line. Second thing is, even though I'm very high on A.J. Terrell, I like the draft pick. He's going into the season as your number 1 corner, or at least he's your starting corner, which leads me to the third thing I don't like is that when you have problems with pass rush, you have problems with your corners and secondary, then you're going against 6 Hall of Fame quarterbacks plus another 4 Pro Bowl caliber quarterbacks. That leads me to cause a worry, because bottom line, the expectations of the Atlanta Falcons is to make the playoffs. I think 8-8 may cause some heads to roll, because last season you were expected to go to the playoffs to finish 7-9. This season, I think the Falcons need to go to the playoffs. Maybe 7-9 and 8-8, depending on how that works out, could result in Dimitroff and Quinn keeping their jobs. But more than likely, you need to make the playoffs. So, hey, what did I say? Stick around to the very end where I talk about the Vegas over-under, and if I am going to put action down on the Atlanta Falcons. The over-under is 7.5. The over is -120, which means you have to wager $120 to win 100. The under is even money, so if you think the Falcons are going to go 7-9, again, if you wager $100, you will win $800. Now, I love the over. But there's a lot of question marks about the over, because here's the thing: the Falcons are a 7-9 team that I think are easily better than 7-9. But my big concern is that if somebody told me you're going to get Todd Gurley from 2 years ago to play in just 12 games, not even 16, just 12 games, I'm putting my life savings on the over today. But he's always had health issues. And what level are you going to get? Are you going to get Todd Gurley who's 80%? Or am I going to get Todd Gurley who's, 75, 80%? Or am I getting Todd Gurley who's close to what he was last year? If I'm getting Todd Gurley at 90% for 16 games, this could be the best offense in football. I'm not being hyperbolic, if I can get that word out here. I mean, you already have a Hall of Fame quarterback. You already have a Hall of Fame wide receiver. You also have Calvin Ridley, who I didn't even talk about at all. this offense could be one of the best offenses in football with a healthy Todd Gurley. You have to question his health. The problem I have, which is probably going to prevent me from putting action down on the Atlanta Falcons, is this schedule is brutal. All right. You have a bye week 10. Okay. And here's the thing. If you're going to put action on the over, you need to be, by week 10, you need to be 6-3. And the reason why is the last 7 games of the season are brutal. You're going to face Tampa Bay twice. You're going to face New Orleans twice. You're going to play in Kansas City in December. I'm telling you right now, that's a tough win, regardless of the Chiefs' record. So you have a road game at Los Angeles, and you have a home game against the Raiders. So if I'm taking over, I want to be at least 6-3 for those first 9 games, because yes, you've been able to split games with the Saints, but if you're putting action down on the Falcons, you can't count on a win against the Saints. You got to throw it out the window. So here's what you're hoping for: a split with Tampa Bay, a win against the Chargers, or a win against the Raiders. So those are your 3 wins right there. And keep in mind, if you want to argue with me that they'll split the series with the Saints, yeah, I wouldn't count on that. So what I'm hoping for is 6-3. And in those first 9 games, I mean, this schedule's pretty tough. I'm not sure you're getting 6 wins. The season opener against Seattle, that would need to be a win. At Dallas, home against Chicago, at Green Bay. Those first 4 games, that's a tough 4-game stretch here. You could go 1-3 pretty easily. Now, keep in mind, you get 2 games against Carolina. It wouldn't surprise me if you sweep those. And then you get at Minnesota, Detroit, Denver at home. I could say you're going to win against Detroit. I'm going to say you could win both games against Carolina. And then out of the remaining games, I mean, I don't know you're getting the 6. I really don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if going into the bye, you're just at 5-4. And that would mean that you need to win that Raiders game, Chargers, and then you have to win one of those Tampa Bay games, which is tough. So as much as I like the Atlanta Falcons, the talent is there to get to 8-8 easy. This is easily a team that should easily go 8-8. This schedule is brutal, and you can't count on Todd Gurley's health. So I do like the over. I really like the over. I'm probably going to abstain from putting action down on the Atlanta Falcons. Keep in mind, this is a team I'm really going to keep a close eye on, because going in up into opening day, this ends up dropping to 110 or maybe 105. This might be worth a small wager. I do really like the over. It's just the schedule's brutal. So listen, hey, I hope you appreciated the video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Please help this channel grow. It means the absolute world to me. And listen, tomorrow I'm going to break down the Dallas Cowboys. So hey, happy Monday. I will see you tomorrow.